Okay, we are live. Sorry about that, guys. I was having a bit of difficulty there. Hey guys, welcome to a channel of Ice and Fire, and here I'm doing a little something different this time around. I'll be doing a live stream breakdown of basically everything that happened from A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 4, I believe, titled 7. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this has to be my favorite episode from the entire show, honestly. Sorry, and for those again in the chat who are being very impatient right now, I had a bit of technical difficulties going on with YouTube right now. They're just being incredibly stupid. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Now I can see the live chat. Okay. So, like I said, this is going to be something fairly new. Basically, for those who don't know, I try to do a bit of video reviews online, and frankly, they haven't really done that well, so I kind of thought, might as well do a live stream, just so you guys can see more of me a bit more, and honestly, I haven't really done much live streams. Not since the first trailer for... Actually, no, not the first trailer. The second trailer for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms came out. And, yeah. Before I do that, let me see if there's any chats in the house. We got Agor Rivers again. Hey, how you doing, my favorite Blackfire friend? Got a bit... Christopher Beacon. Oh, wait. Christopher... Oh, Bacon. Oh, wait. No. Bacon, sorry. Alright. So, without further ado, let's get everything going. Like I said, I would say that this was honestly my favorite episode from the entire show. Honestly, it was honestly more Game of Thrones than everything that we've seen thus far. Don't get me wrong. The other episodes were honestly fantastic, but this one hit a different nail entirely. Actually, hang on, let me see. I saved a lot of these stills, so let me see if I can scroll on by, see if I can find all the ones that I was saved. Hang on, let me see if I can increase the size of the, here we go. There we go. That looks much better. Okay. Let me see if I can find the one with, Dunk and Egg. Oh, nope. That's for later. Oh. There we are. I actually like the interactions between Dunk and Egg all throughout, like, from the beginning. In the books, their interactions with after Dunk learns of Egg's true identity as Aegon, the future Aegon the Fifth. Honestly, it was very. This one was way more emotional than how it was in the books, because you see in the books it was kind of more of a confused like realization rather than a flat out betrayal, which Dunk definitely feels in this episode. It was really, it was really like sad seeing how their friendship was beginning to deteriorate. Honestly, though, Egg's expression was just amazing. I really do feel for the kid. Dexter Saul Ansel just absolutely stole the show. Like, he's been stealing the show all throughout the show, honestly. I'm very impressed with how he's been performing, sorry. Oh, hang on, let me just move that. There we go. Yeah, I'm just very pleased of how he's been performing thus far. The only thing I was a little concerned about with this scene here was the fact that they mentioned the 4 Aegons, which is, I mean, it's a reference obviously to the Conqueror, Aegon II from House of the Dragon, and well, I'm not going to spoil the other Aegon, for, like I said, for the sake of House of the Dragon fans out there. But the fourth Aegon, he was Aeg's, I think, great-grandfather, and he was, honestly, one of the worst Targaryen kings out there, to be honest with you. But I'm getting a little sidebar. But their interactions, Aeg and Dunk, was honestly very heartbreaking. There was a moment that I thought they reached the point of no return. But obviously for those who have read the novellas, and obviously for the sake of the show, we know better. All right, let me see if I can scroll on to the next. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's Daeron. Oh, hang on. Let me just scroll on by my stills here. Where are you? Where are you, Dunk? Ah, there you are. Now, this scene with Dunk, Egg, and Baelor, honestly, I was very, very impressed to see the performance of Bernie. Oh, what's his name? Carvel. Bernie Carvel. I really liked how he portrayed Baelor as kind of concerned, but also kind of defending House Targaryen for the actions of Aerion Brightflame. It was like he knew that Aerion did really fucked up a bit, but he was kind of defending the integrity of House Targaryen and what he was doing against Tanzil. But I also liked how he was pretty much scolding Egg for pretty much deceiving Dunk and just getting him in this big heap of trouble. It was... It kind of felt like he was disciplining Egg like the father that he wasn't. Because obviously Baelor is Egg's nephew, as Egg is Maekar Targaryen's son. But yeah, I kind of like how Baelor was pretty much on Dunk's side while also defending his family in a way. But I do like how Dunk was pretty much calling out the hypocrisy of the fact that Aerion is a knight, and yet he was doing something so deplorable. And I think that kind of resonates with Baelor after basically joining up with the Trial of Seven at the end of the episode. It was honestly so satisfying to see, and I just can't wait. Oh, hang on. Oh, chat box is blocked. Oh, I just noticed now. The chat block... Oh, wait. Hang on, let me just see. Aha, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, man. That goes to show you how incredibly tired I am and how unprofessional I am. But, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I actually like how Dunk was kind of filling in some of the dialogue from Baelor from the books, because Baelor pretty much says that it was surely innocence, and I kind of like how Dunk was pretty much kind of standing up for himself, because in the novella he was kind of whimpering a bit, but in here he's defending himself. He's standing up for what it means to be a knight, even though he wasn't technically knighted, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. But what was I going to say? But yeah, I like that Baelor was pretty much kind of giving Dunk advice about insisting on trial by combat, because he knows that if he doesn't, he's gonna die, or at least lose a hand and a foot, given the fact that he kicked and punched Aerion. But yeah, I was... Oh, hang on, let me see if I can scroll on here. Yep. And it's... Like I said, I really love Bernie Carville's performance as Baelor. He honestly stole the show. I remember seeing a bunch of people kind of being concerned about the actor because he doesn't look really Dornish. He doesn't have the tan skin that Baelor has in the books. But honestly, I had no problem with the casting, and I was glad to see that my faith was justified, honestly. And for those who don't know, honestly, the actor who plays Baelor, he was in Star Wars The Old Republic MMO as the voice behind the Imperial agent. That's kind of, honestly, as soon as I saw that, I was just blown out of my mind. And as soon as I heard his voice, it immediately clicked in my head. Sorry. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing more Baelor in episode 5. Alright, let's see. Oh, nope. None of that. None of that. Oh, let me just see if I can scroll on by to... Oh, where are you? Where are you? Ah, there we are. The courtroom scene. Well, I don't know if you call it a courtroom, but in the Great Hall of Ashford. I can't say that name. Honestly, this scene also was one of my favorites. I kind of like how all throughout the episode when Aerion was just cracking nuts with his dagger, Maekar was just getting... I love the expression he was doing right now. He knows his son is a piece of work and he's just over him, but the fact that he's just defending him is just the fact of his family's honor. He knows his son is just a sack of shit. Because in the novella, Maekar pretty much stands up for Aerion, but in this episode, it's clear that he's defending him only out of necessity, not because he has any general fondness for Aerion. I mean, let's be honest here. I don't think anyone in this world really likes Aerion. There's not a single individual that actually views Aerion with any form of affection. Not his brothers, not his father, not his uncle, not his cousin, not anyone. And given how he was acting in the 3rd episode, I honestly can't blame them. But also, fun note, Leo Longthorn is there, right next to Baelor and Lord Ashford. And even though he had no dialogue at all in this scene, it was nice to have him there, because he's the Lord Paramount of the Reach right now, and he's the Liege Lord of Lord Ashford. So it definitely makes a lot of sense for him to be there. Even though in the novella he did had a line or two, basically defending that there needs to be a trial of 7, which Aerion calls out here. But I do like that initially when Dunk calls out for trial of combat, Aerion initially refuses. It's kind of interesting because I don't know if any knight has actually said he refused, because as Maekar said, he can't, because knights have to answer that challenge. There's no ifs, bends, or buts about it. But there is also, you can call out a champion, but I guess Aerion just called out the trial of 7 because he knows Dunk is a nobody. But also, I do love the fact that when Maekar left this room, he pretty much dragged Aerion out and just made him... It was just so good. I love that... Honestly, I said this before in my episode 2 review, but I just love Sam Spruell as Maekar. He just absolutely nails the performance. They could have made Maekar a antagonist, an unlikable character like Ollie from Game of Thrones or Kristen Cole from House of the Dragon, but something is just... I just don't know. It's really... It's amazing just seeing how he's not Stannis Baratheon, but he's his own kind of sternness. He's always angry. The cursing, just saying fuck, fuck, fuck all the time in his sentences is just basically amazing. I honestly just say Maekar is by far my favorite character in the show. But also something I want to point out here, in the still, there's a couple of Targaryen knights here, whereas in the actual scene itself, they were alone. There was only a couple of Ashford guards. So I'm curious why they kind of removed the guards, but I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. Okay, before I go further, let me see if there's anyone in the chat that I might say hello to. Oh, Christy Angel. Hey, how you doing, my friend? Good morning to you. I don't know where you live, but I hope you're enjoying your day, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. Zunas? Good night, dude. Or I don't know how you say happy good night. But how you doing, my friend? I hope you're having a good evening. Bitter Steel, like I said. How's my fair Blackfire fan doing? Like I said, I already mentioned Christopher Bacon. Connor, I'm just saying Connor. I don't know how to pronounce that last part, but I hope you're doing well, my friend. Dark Kitty, hope you're doing well. And yes, I do agree, Finn is just an absolute legend as Aryan. I wouldn't say he's in that category as Joffrey Baratheon or Ramsay Snow, but I do like that childish, bratty persona that he gives off as Aryan. It's by far very amusing, honestly. Like when he cracks a nut and it rolls off the table and he points at it to Lord Ashford, basically pointing at him to go and get my nut. And I just love the I have to say, he really nails the persona as a spoiled Targaryen prince. And while personally I would have liked a more yellow and orange drip to his outfit, it's kind of a minor thing to me, but I hope we see more of his evil persona in episode 4. Alright. Let's move on here. No, that's more of a still. Oh wait, hang on. Let me see. Nope. That's later on. I'll be going on to that. Here we go. The interactions between Dunk, Stefan, and Raymond, honestly, were kind of cool, honestly. Though I'm kind of... I said this before in episode 3, I don't like the fact that the Fossaways are just anti-Targaryen now. I get it. They're first men. The Targaryens lost their dragons. They're not as powerful as they used to be. But, I don't know. Under the circumstances they are in at the moment, being reigned under a benevolent king like Daeron the Good, enduring like decades of peace after the Blackfire rebellions, I don't know. It's kind of odd that they're just now, the Targaryens are evil tyrants, when in fact they're not really. I don't know. But I do like the smugness of Stefan, that he's just intimidating to Raymond, and you could tell when he was saying, I'm with you, I'm going to stand for you, and you will not die under my watch. You could tell he was kind of bullshitting a bit. It was really... I honestly saw the betrayal coming a mile away. Even if you haven't read the novellas, you could tell he was gonna backstab Dunk. I can tell from a mile away. But there was one complaint I do have. He didn't call Raymond the Reluctant. It, I think that would have been a good snide point for Stefan. But yeah, I honestly, people, it's really honestly, I really do love how Stefan is just kind of a smug prick. Like from episode 1 all the way to this episode, I knew people were gonna hate him, and his betrayal at the end of the episode was just, I could tell Raymond was just pissed off, and the fact that he shoved him and just tell him to get your own horse is just chef's kiss. But aside the point, let's move on. Oh, and speaking of which, there's the betrayal scene. As much as I hate Stefan, the armor he has in this episode was just absolutely phenomenal. I kind of like the copper vibe to the armor, and all the way the vines and the apples, it was just absolutely cool. Honestly, the armor all throughout A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is just absolutely perfect. I don't think there's any armor that I really don't like, honestly. No, actually, there is that, actually. There is one. Lionel's helmet. I don't like the helmet. It's kind of too revealing. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, no. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Nope. Where are you? Oh, I don't think I have it saved here. But aside from the helmet, I do love Lionel's armor. It does look really good. I do like the antlers on the side of the breastplate. Really nice touch. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me see if I can scroll on down. Ah, here we are. Eggs. I really like that Egg stormed in was pretty much kind of like hope reborn for Dunk as soon as he stepped in. It really does a really great job of pretty much restoring the broken friendship that they had in the beginning of the episode. I was very glad to see that Dunk was very happy to see Egg as soon as he came into the tent. But let me see if I can find him. We have Daeron the Drunken. I was so glad to see him in episode 1, and in this episode, he definitely looked like he just came back from a hangover, and he just looks an absolute mess. He looks like he's 40 years older. I guess that happens when you're a raging alcoholic like him. It's just, I honestly love the fact that they kept the brownish yellow hair that he has, because in the novella he doesn't have the typical Targaryen features of the silver and purple eyes. Well, obviously not the purple eyes in the show, obviously, but I digress. But the actor just portrayed him so well. I love the comedic side of him, especially when he was jabbing at Raymond about the apple thing. But there's also a tragic side with him, because, as people know, he's a dragon dreamer. And as we've seen in A Song of Ice and Fire and in the show, that's more of a curse than a blessing. You could definitely see that the dreams are taking a real effect on him. That he's not right in the head, that they really messed him up, that drove him to drink. And I also like the interactions he has with Dunk, because in the beginning, when they interact, there's outright hostility. There's just Dunk really wants to kill him for lying about the fact that Dunk kidnapped Egg from episode 1. When we know that that's not true, that he was just drunk in that inn. But as they got out of the tent and Daeron pretty much reveals the prophecy with Dunk and a dying dragon, it really shows that they quickly transition from enemies to kind of comrades. I kind of like the camaraderie that they have when Daeron says, "I don't want to die," and Dunk pretty much says the same thing. It's kind of the same. It's pretty much the same thing that happens in the novella, because Dunk wanted to kill Daeron on sight, but afterwards they kind of have a friendly conversation, I guess. I don't know how. I wouldn't say they're BFFs, but I definitely say that they're not enemies. I would say more like friendly acquaintances, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think the only thing I wish they kind of added was the fact that well, I don't know. I think the only thing I would really criticize about that moment is they didn't really go into detail about, we were Dragon Masters once. Well, nah, actually, scratch that. Sorry, my brain is still scrambling around for thoughts. But I think, honestly, but back to what I was saying before, this honestly has to be one of my favorite scenes from the episode, and Daeron, I would say Daeron was kind of the highlighter of the episode for me. Again, with his interactions with Dunk about the prophecy, and again, about his jab with Raymond Fossaway and the apples with pity he wasn't born Fossaway, then he would think himself an apple. It was kind of very funny. I like the wink he has with Raymond. But yeah, and I did kind of like the sorry, that was my phone. Sorry about that, if you guys heard that. Oh, hang on, let me see if I can scroll on by. Hang on. Oh, there we are. I do like in the, after Daeron leaves and Dunk finds Tenzel's, tent deserted with the puppet of Florian the Fool. I kind of like the, echoey effects with, Tenzel in the previous episode when he plays, Jonquil. It kind of resonates to Dunk that he's kind of echoing that he's like Florian. He has a humble background, but is perceived as a fool. Basically, for Dunk, he pretty much struck a Targaryen prince, and that pretty much makes him a fool and a dead man. And it also kind of signals a bit of dread when he picks up the puppet head. But I do like also when Steely Pate comes in and pretty much reassures Dunk that you have hope, and when he presents him the new painted shield with the elm tree, let me see if I can find it. Because I know I screenshot it here a bit. Oop. Oh boy, hang on. Oh, not that. Oh, where's it? Oh, here we are. Screenshots. Here we are. Okay, here we are. I do like honestly, the elm tree sigil that Tenzo made looks absolutely perfect. It looks near identical to what we see in the graphic novel. It's just beautiful. I love how they added the sunset in the background. It was, love it. And like I said, I do love the fact that they made Steely Pate stoic, but also friendly with Dunk. I just love every bit of the episode. It made him into a best friend figure for Dunk. It was... I might be rambling on more, but I love Steely Pate in episode 3, and this episode really solidified my love for him. I doubt we'll see much of him in episode 4, but I can tell he will definitely have a role to play later on. And I'm not going to say... Sorry, excuse me. I'm not going to say any more further, just for the sake of spoilers, so nobody here can be accusing me of spoiling things for people. Okay, let me see if I can go back to my... here we are. Alright, let me see where I can find the scene. Oh, actually, no. Scratch that. Let me see if I can find... there they are. The Trial of Seven, Team Dunk. Now, for those who don't know, that's Humphrey Harding, Robin Risling, Humphrey Beesbury, and I don't know if you guys can tell, he has a yellowish mustache, which is kind of a nice touch given the fact that their seat is honey hold, and he pretty much has a beard with honey features. And I guess he took a cue from Tyrosh, I guess. And obviously, Lionel Baratheon. I think everyone here can agree that Lionel Baratheon really shines in this season. It was really a really great touch to expand his character with episode 1 and episode 2 with his added scenes. It really gives us a love for the Baratheons. And like I said in my episode, I think I said this in episode 1 or 2, but Lionel is by far my favorite member of House Baratheon. I like him much better than Robert, Renly, and especially Stannis. I know there's a lot of people in the Song of Ice and Fire community who will say he's the king who cares, but I don't know. I get it, he's dutiful, he definitely does care, but I don't know. I don't see him as the ideal monarch. But that's just me, and I don't know. But I'm going ahead of myself. But again, I think the only real criticism that me and most other people have with the episode is that they didn't really show the recruitment for the members of Team Dunk. Like Robin Risling, we know he's only joining Dunk to get payback for Aerion for pretty much breaking his legs in episode 3. But also, we got no dialogue from Humphrey Beesbury. Because in the novella, it's stated that he's Humphrey Harding's brother-in-law. And he pretty much wants to back him up in his bid for vengeance. But there's no context to why he's joining Team Dunk here. But I do like the fact that Robin Risling is kind of joining up because the crown is opposing the will of the gods. And I honestly say, the fact that they made Robin Risling a mad, wandering hermit knight, it's kind of adding on more to his character, because in the novellas, he's just there to join up and has no dialogue whatsoever in any scene in the novella. But I do like the fact that they gave him an extra scene with Egg in episode 3, and I like the fact that he's, again, I like the fact that he's a wandering hermit monk knight person, I guess. But I also like the fact that they gave Robin Risling a chainmail over his missing eye. Oh, hang on. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. There we go. Let me just scroll on down to the still. I know I have. There it is. The chainmail over his missing eye. That's a nice touch that they added. They didn't really need to put that in, but that's a nice little addition that I think works perfectly with the character himself. Alright. I already discussed Stefan's betrayal, but I did not... Oh, hey, Armadillo. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you are having a lovely Thursday, or Friday, depending on where you are living. Oh, let me just see if I can scroll on by to... Where are you? Where are you? Oh, actually, before I even get to that, let me just say about Dunk's armor. Everything that they did is looking almost exactly to how they're depicted in the graphic novel version of the Hedge Knight. It's just beautiful how they, just nailed the look of Dunk's tunic and chainmail. It's just chef's kiss, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. I love it! And I love the fact that they kept the rope belt. They didn't need to do that. They could have added in a more Westerosi, knightly belt, but they kept true to the novella, and I am so glad that they did. I'm so glad that they did. Sorry. It's been a long day, and my strength is gradually fading. Where are you? And Raymond's knighting. This was really... I honestly really like how Lionel was just being chill when he delivers his in the name of the warrior, and name the mother, and name the... pretty much all that stuff. The knightly oath. That... I kind of like how his voice was kind of a background voice while Dunk is riding out to Lord Ashford. But it just... I think it works perfectly well, because in the novella he pretty much says the same thing as Dunk leaves, but it kind of fades away as Dunk carries on to Lord Ashford. But I also like the fact that Raymond was looking up to Lionel as he was knighting him, but Dunk doing the same thing with Arlen the Pennytree, and he pretty much just gives off a, I don't know what to do. It's on you, buddy. It kind of demonstrates that, yeah, Dunk was never knighted by Arlen, so he's not really a knight. But even though that he's not really knighted, he pretty much portrays on what it means to be a knight, as opposed to pretty much 90% of the cast of the characters here. I think the only people who are really knightly are those on Team Dunk. Yeah, pretty much everyone on Team Dunk is the only characterization on what it means to be a true knight. Everyone else is pretty much, they have knighthoods, but they're just knobby pricks about it. They use it like a privilege rather than an obligation. But yeah. And I do like the fact that Dunk was very hesitant on knighting Raymond, but he doesn't really give off the tone that, I'm not really a knight, I can't really give him this knighthood. I kind of wish that they added in Raymond's, do you doubt my courage, like the novella had it. But I think it works well for the scene. It kind of adds on to Dunk's kind of insecurities and kind of how he kind of knows that he's not a knight, but he knows that he could do it if he really wanted to. I don't know. That's kind of how I saw it. Alright, let's see if we can scroll on down. Ah, here we are. The interactions between Dunk and Aerion. And let me just say again, Aerion's look, the armor in Night of the Seven Kingdoms is just on point. But Aerion's, though, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. And a separate note, I love the Targaryen capes. They look absolutely magnificent. The detail on the cloth is just amazing. And I do like the fact that with Aerion's, it's more of a brightly colored red, which does lend weight to his Aerion Brightflame nickname. Though, again, like I said earlier, I do wish that they added in a bit of orange and yellow coloring to the cape. That would have sold more on his Brightflame persona. Okay, Armando, not Armadillo. Why did I call you Armadillo? I'm so sorry, man. Okay, Armando, sorry. What do you think? What if Littlefinger conquered Braavos and adopted Braavosi culture? I mean, he has the veil. I mean, the veil. I don't know. I don't think even with the veil, I don't think Littlefinger could conquer Braavos. No one could conquer Braavos because of the Titan and the fact that the Iron Bank, the Faceless Men, any of these could make Braavos like pretty much impregnable, unconquered, pretty much. I mean, if he conquers Braavos kind of a more political means, like installing a puppet or maybe hiring the Faceless Men to kill the Sea Lord and the Iron Bankers, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, honestly, I really should do more what-ifs. They really did skyrocket the channel with the Rhaegar video. Ooh, sorry about that. But I would really like to do more what-ifs on the Secret Siege. What if Rhaenyra accepted Aegon II's offer and all that stuff? The only thing that's restricting me right now is obviously this show, House of the Dragon, and my other video ideas, like the Targaryen King series. Ooh, excuse me. But that's definitely something I want to explore in the future. But I'm getting off topic. Let me just return to the task at hand, or the scene at hand, rather. I really do love that Dunk. Hang on. Ah, here we are. I love Dunk's speech to the lords all around the viewing stand. I just love how Peter Clappy just sold the speech in full. I love the added dialogue that I was not Sir Arlen's blood, but I have followed his example. It does lend to the bond he has with his old mentor. I think the only criticism I have is that he didn't really call out the other lords that he did in the novella. He didn't call out Manfred Dondarrion, who was in the scene, in the not the background, but in the blurred vision with his lady friend. He didn't call out the Red Lion. Arthur Bracken was there, but for that notorious fart, which to me that felt unnecessary. I don't think it needed to be there. I think the fact that that Dunk should have called out the other lords, and I wanted to know, where was the Grey Lion? There were people on social media that pointed him out with another person, but that guy wasn't blonde. The Lannisters are blonde. House of the Dragon established that. They fixed that. They fixed what Game of Thrones messed up in later seasons. They made them brunettes. They're blondes, for Christ's sake. Ugh. But tirade over. Again, I don't think the farting scene was really necessary. I think they could have had Arthur Bracken just standing up and just going off for a piss or something. I don't know. It kind of... I don't know. I get it. They were trying to make a more comedic effect for the dramatic scene that was happening, but it felt like a cheap MCU laugh. It's kind of the same thing with the Dunk shitting on the tree as soon as the Game of Thrones theme kicked in episode 1. But I do love Claffy's Are There No True Knights Amongst You? That was amazing. In the graphic novel and the audio book for the Hedge Knight, it kind of sounded more like a screech, but here it was just a powerful, booming, roar, and I love it. It was chef's kiss, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. I love the fact that Pierre Claffey is just nailing Dunk's performance. I didn't really know what to make of the actor when he was cast, but here he just settled all of my doubts. But none of this compares to this scene when Baelor arrives in just in the nick of time with the Game of Thrones theme chiming in. It was, oh my god. They redeemed that shitting scene in episode 1. They redeemed it with this amazing scene. This amazing last minute scene. It was just amazing. It really did earn the Game of Thrones theme, if that makes sense. Hang on, let me skip to Baelor's. Here we are. The fact that he revealed himself and the crowd cheering for him as he declares, "I will take Sir Duncan's side," it was amazing. And again, I love the Targaryen armors, especially Maekar's. I love the steel black dragon emblem on his chest plate. Though, honestly, I do wish that they added the quartered arms of Maekar, because in the novellas, he has a 4-dragon sigil, which basically depicts 4 dragons, which pretty much shows off that he's the 4th son of the current reigning king, Daeron the Good. But again, I do get why they cut it to make it more simple. And like I said, I do love the look on Maekar's armor. I just kind of wish that they added in the quartered arms. Even though I'm normally not a big fan on quartered arms myself. That's why I'm not all bothered that they changed Rhaenyra's standard in House of the Dragon to just the simple Targaryen arms, which we're in right now as a cap. But yeah, yeah, Michael, I do agree. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes. Episode 3 wasn't my favorite, to be honest. But episode 4, I definitely get you. It definitely brings back the early years of Game of Thrones, and it was just magnificent. Especially this last moment. I do love the fact that we have the Kingsguard and Arryn, but also, I'm kind of curious why we didn't see Daeron, because he's participating on Team Arryn. I guess they're saving him for episode 5, I guess? I don't know. But, again, but I do love the fact that the Game of Thrones team, why did I say team? Oh, brain stop being smooth. I do love the fact that the last second with Dunk just riding on thunder as the Game of Thrones theme just closes out, it definitely feels like the golden age of Game of Thrones back in the days of season 1 to 4. It was, love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, and that was pretty much episode 4. Like I said, all throughout this stream, it's by far the best episode that we've gotten thus far in the show. It was everything that I wanted from a Game of Thrones spin-off show, and it definitely fueled the dread that usual Game of Thrones fans are accustomed to. Like Michael here and myself. Like I said, well, don't get me wrong. I do love the lightheartedness from the previous episodes. But some jokes are hit and miss. Like in this episode, the farting scene, it didn't feel needed to me. It just felt kind of unnecessary. But with all that said, I would give episode 4 a 9 out of 10. It was honestly just amazing. I loved every bit of this episode. It was just great. But we're not done. This stream is not done, ladies and gentlemen. For if you guys saw, I saved some stills for the next episode. Let me see if I can find those. Here we are. And here we have Dunk with his iconic helmet. It just looks amazing. I said it before, and I'll say it again. They nailed Dunk's armor. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how Ira Parker is being so faithful to the novellas in a way that D&D definitely didn't do with Game of Thrones. It's a marked difference here. And I'm so glad that he's being faithful to George's work. And here we have the first shot of a young Dunk. And for those who don't know, this episode, the coming episode, In the Name of the Mother, is going to have flashback sequences with Dunk and his friend Rafe, which we see here. I don't know where. This definitely shows Dunk and Rafe in King's Landing, in obviously Flea Bottom, but here it's kind of interesting. To me, it kind of seems like they're part of an underground crime network. That's basically how I'm interpreting it, because Flea Bottom is basically the slum, the worst of the worst of King's Landing. And I'm curious to see how Dunk will run into Arlen and Pennytree. Here's another shot with Dunk and Rafe, and it's in the same forest area that we see in Game of Thrones with the road to King's Landing. I don't remember the name of this exact spot, but this shot in England, like I said, has been used before in Game of Thrones, and I'm curious to see why they're walking out of the city. But I'm very curious to see how Dunk's relationship with Rafe was gonna be. It's definitely gonna show a bit of dread, basically being at Flea Bottom, but also the childish hope that obviously we're seeing with Rafe here. I'm kind of curious on how that's going to go by. And honestly, I'm kind of curious how they'll handle the flashbacks. Because in this episode, in the coming episode, the trial of Seven is going to happen. I feel like... Ooh, sorry. In this episode, I feel like they're going to have the flashback in the opening, and they're probably going to do it halfway through the episode when Dunk gets his head knocked off by Arian's mace, or Morningstar, rather. Let's see if we can move on. Oh, and here we have Dunk with Arlen and Pennytree with his sword. I guess he's either sneaking in while the old man is sleeping, or maybe he took Dunk in already at this point. I'm leaning more on the former, seeing as it kind of looks like he's more stealing rather than being with him? I don't know. Yeah, Michael, I've also heard that episode 5 is even better. And I'm very curious to see how that is. Obviously, it's going to be packed full of action. I am so really excited to see Maekar in his full armor. I really want to see his helmet. And here's another shot of Raymond Fossaway in his really gorgeous armor. Like I said, Raymond is a C-bomb, but his armor is just absolutely magnificent. I love the gold. Well, it's not really gold, it's more copper. But I love the gold, apple, aesthetics all throughout the armor. And some people have noted that the apple on his crest, on the crest he was wearing beforehand, and on this armor, looks rotten. Which definitely does fit for someone like him. He's rotten, and he's selfish. He's opportunistic. He's pretty much a piece of crap. And this part here, I'm most curious about. We have Rafe in a tattered battleground area. I've seen people speculate on what this battleground could be. I'm gonna put this out here. I think this could be the Battle of the Red Grass Field. Now, we don't really know why. We don't really know, well, not why, but we don't know where exactly that battleground happened. The only thing we do know is that it was on the road to King's Landing. For all we know, that battleground happened just beyond the city. It could make the battle even more significant than it already was in the books. Because in the Battle of the Red Grass Field, the Blackfyre pretender, Daemon Blackfyre, was killed by Bloodraven, and Baelor and Maekar showed up with reinforcements that pretty much smashed through all the Blackfyres. I'm curious to see if here we'll see the aftermath of that battle. And I really hope we see Blackfyre banners. I initially thought that this still here was a Blackfyre banner in the background here, but given the fact that we see a bit of gold, that kind of looks more like a Lannister banner to me. Shout out to Fantasy Haven for pointing that out here on his Discord. He definitely has a better eye than me. Alright. yeah, more stills of a flashback sequence with Rafe and a young Dunk. Curious to see how bad it really is. I'm imagining is going to be really, really, really bad for them. That pretty much drives them to leave the city. And again, we have Maekar in his Targaryen armor. And oh my god. Again, I'm going to continue praising this man. But Sam Spurrell is just absolutely nailing Maekar's look and his overall vibes. And I love the dragon teeth on the shoulder plates and on the neck guard. It's just Again, I want to see that man's helmet. It's just gonna look magnificent. Alright. And we have Lionel Baratheon in his gear. I've already said my piece with his armor. Looks great. Not a huge fan of the helmets. The visor bits, it's kind of too exposing for those who have seen episode 2, and I think I have others still, but do I have others still? No, I do not. But you guys get my meaning. And here we have Egg in his Targaryen drip, and I think from the preview, it kind of shows Egg in the viewing stand with the other lords. I would have thought that he would have been on the sidelines with Steely Pate like he did in episode 4. I guess he wants to get a better look of the battleground to help out Dunk. But I honestly love the Targaryen drip that he's been wearing from episode 4 and this episode. Well, not this episode, but the stills here. But you get my meaning. But it just looks magnificent. I love it. And Baelor. The armor just looks magnificent. And for those who don't know, he's wearing his son's armor, Valar. And I'm very curious. I really love to see the speech he makes, like what we saw in the next episode preview. He pretty much says, stay vigilant and don't die. And I really hope we see him pretty much saying, no, we need to use turning lances instead of war lances. I really want to see more of a strategist behind Baelor, because he's supposed to be the greatest commander in Westeros at this time. And I really want to see more of a strategist in him. Because in the books, he kind of has a tactful strategy. And I really hope we see that go out more with him in the next episode. Alright. And we have another flashback sequence with Arlen and Penetry. And here he looks like he's kind of roistering around with his horses. He's obviously getting drunk. And I actually have a theory. I think that the flashback sequences will have Rafe and Dunk trailing after Arlen and Penetry trying to rob him. But I think in the end, it will have Dunk pretty much wanting to stay with the old man and leaving Rafe behind. At least that's how I'm viewing it. I think that'll be a good way of connecting that Dunk was originally a thief, but he ends up living an honorable life and becoming one of the most notable individuals in Westeros. Yeah, I honestly think that's what they're going to go for in episode 5. But I would love to know what you guys think. Alright, moving on to another. Oh, and we have Aerion Brightflame in his full decked armor. I've said this before in my episode 3 review, but I just love Aerion's armor. The helmet. it just looks so menacing, and it looks so over-the-top villain that actually works for someone like Aerion. The flames, it definitely looks like dragonish, if that makes sense. But it looks it just looks so good. Again with my criticisms though, I do wish the flames did have a bit of orange and yellow, as someone who has read the novellas. And speaking of which, I want to talk about the shield. I've seen a lot of people commenting that it's like an orangey dragon sigil, but to me, it looks just like a metallic red for the shield. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's anything special. It just looks like a metallic red. But again, I do wish that they added in his personal sigil. A Targaryen dragon with one red, one orange, and one yellow. Kind of, I don't know. I get why they didn't add it, but I don't know. It kind of disappointed me. But I do like the fact that they keep on adding the Targaryen headdresses that they have with the horses, like Daemon did with his jousting horse in Heirs of the Dragon. It definitely gives off that Aerion thinks that he's riding a dragon, but he's just riding a regular horse. Alright. Oh, and there's another look of Aerion and his horsey. Yeah, I do love the fact that the flames do look dragonish. It's just looking absolutely magnificent. And here we have another still of Dunk with, I guess, a couple of criminals, I guess. This does give me a bit of a theory on who Dunk is going to be as a kid. I think they're going to make Kid as a common thief working for an underboss in Flea Bottom. And I guess him and Rafe are going to rob this hedge knight for them, but Dunk decides he's going to abandon all this just to become a squire for a knight. Pretty much finding the family that he never really had. That's just how I view it. But yeah. And I think that's it. Well, thank you guys for joining up with me. This definitely was, I think I like doing this style more than video editing, because doing like video reviews kind of drains my energy a bit, because I'm not a huge fan of reviews, honestly. I much prefer doing my usual animations and all that, honestly. I do want to make more, like I said before, I do want to make more what if videos. I will try to do more of that in the future, but one thing at a time. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to episode 5, and I just cannot wait to digest all the goodness from this video, because like Michael said, people have seen it and they praised it more than episode 4, and that has me very excited. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and in the live chat. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys enjoy episode 5. But until next time, guys, this is a channel of Ice and Fire, and I hope you guys have a good day.